Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into one of the most fundamental topics in biology, reproduction. I know, it's a huge chapter, but we're going to break it down so it's super easy to revise. Let's get right into it.
So let's start with a really big question. Have you ever just stopped and thought, why aren't we the very last generation of humans on this planet? Well, the answer is simple, but also pretty amazing. It's because of reproduction, the process that ensures life keeps on going.
Here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the absolute basics. Then we'll look at the two main ways life gets it done. After that, we'll zoom in on humans and plants. And finally, and this is the important part, we'll connect all of this to your health and your exams. Simple and clear, right?
So what is reproduction really? At its core, it's just the biological process that creates new life. The main goal? To pass on all that genetic information from parents to the next generation, making sure a species, like us, doesn't just disappear. Now, in the world of biology, there are two main strategies for this. Some living things can do it all by themselves, but others need a partner. And that brings us to a really important comparison: asexual versus sexual reproduction.
Okay, so what is the biggest difference here? Well, you can think of asexual reproduction like making a photocopy. The offspring is an exact copy, a clone. But sexual reproduction, that's more like shuffling a deck of cards. You get a brand new, unique combination every single time. And this genetic variation, this difference, is like a species superpower. It's what allows us to adapt and survive over the long run.
And hey, don't go thinking asexual reproduction is boring. There are so many cool ways it happens. Bacteria, for example, they just split in two. That's binary fission. A hydra can grow a tiny little bud that just pops off and becomes a new hydra. And a starfish, it can literally regrow its entire body from just a single piece? How amazing is that?
All right, let's bring it closer to home and talk about us. For humans, this whole journey really kicks off with puberty. You know, that's the stage where our bodies start to change and basically get ready for the incredible possibility of creating a new life.
Now, the whole process of human reproduction relies on two very special cells, what we call gametes. First up, you have the sperm. They're tiny, they're fast, and they're produced in massive numbers. And on the other side, you have the ovum, or the egg cell. It's actually the largest cell in the female body, but it can't move on its own. Now listen, students, this comparison, it's a classic exam question, so make sure you know it.
And when I say massive numbers, I am not exaggerating. Just look at this. Around 60 million sperm in a single cubic centimeter. To put that in perspective, that's almost double the entire population of Malaysia, all in a tiny little drop. It really shows you what an incredible race to the egg it is.
Now, for an ovum to even have a chance to meet a sperm, the female body goes through the menstrual cycle. It's roughly a 28-day process with 4 key phases. It starts with menstruation, where the uterine lining breaks down. Then the lining repairs itself. The most important part is around day 14, ovulation. That's when the egg is released. After that, the lining thickens, getting the uterus ready just in case fertilization happens.
So, if one of those millions of sperm successfully finds and fuses with the ovum, we have fertilization. This usually happens in the fallopian tube. This new single cell, called a zygote, then travels to the uterus and attaches itself to the wall. And from there, it's a 9-month journey of development, all the way to birth. We've simplified this amazing process into 5 key steps for you.
And during that whole time, the fetus has its very own personal life support system. The placenta is like the baby's personal delivery service for food and oxygen, and it also takes away waste. The umbilical cord is the lifeline that connects the baby to this system. And the amniotic fluid, that's like a built-in airbag, a liquid cushion that protects the fetus. Okay, I'm telling you now, you absolutely must know the function of these 3 for your exam. Okay, let's switch gears for a bit. We've talked about humans, now let's explore the plant kingdom. Plants also reproduce sexually, and they have their own fascinating ways of doing it. It all centers around their flowers, pollination, and of course, fertilization. So plants can't exactly move around to find a partner, can they? They need help from pollinators, like the wind or insects. And you can actually tell what kind of help they're looking for just by looking at the flower. Wind-pollinated flowers are usually quite plain, but they make tons of light pollen. Insect-pollinated flowers, on the other hand, they're the flashy ones. Big, colorful petals, sweet nectar, and sticky pollen designed to grab onto a passing bee or butterfly.
So, once the pollen grain lands on the correct stigma, its mission begins.
It actually grows a tiny tube all the way down into the flower's ovary. The male gamete then travels down this special tube to meet and fuse with the female gamete inside the ovule. And that, right there, is plant fertilization. After this happens, the ovule develops into a seed.
So why do you need to know all of this? I mean, beyond just passing your exam. Well, in this final section, we're going to see how all this knowledge actually connects to the real world, and I'll give you some solid tips for your tests, so you better pay attention.
You know, understanding reproduction isn't just for biology class. It's led to incredible medical breakthroughs like IVF, which helps so many families. In agriculture, we use cross-pollination to create better plants, like our Tenera palm oil or the sweet Exotica papaya. This knowledge also helps us make informed health choices, like understanding why breastfeeding is so beneficial or why health screenings are so important.
Okay, let's take a moment to clear up some common myths that are still out there. First of all, yes, you can absolutely wash your hair and exercise when you're having your period. In fact, exercise can help. Second, infertility isn't just a woman's problem. It can affect both men and women. And, very importantly, let's be clear, abortion is a medical procedure, not a method of contraception. It's so important to have the correct facts.
All right, exam mode on. I tell my students this all the time, and I'm telling you now. Diagrams in your exam paper, those are your best friends. Knowing how to label them correctly is one of the easiest ways to score points. Don't throw away these free marks.
So, here is your final revision checklist. 1. Make sure you can label the male and female reproductive systems. 2. Know the functions of the placenta and umbilical cord inside and out. 3. Understand the differences between various contraceptive methods. And 4. Be ready to compare the sperm and the ovum. If you can master these, you'll be in a really good position for your exam.
And let's end with something to think about. We've moved from just understanding reproduction to actually being able to shape it with technologies like IVF and genetic engineering. It really makes you wonder, what's next? What will the future of creating life look like for humanity? Something to ponder. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you all the best for your exams.